This is Elder Song of the Magic Online clan Seraphim, and we've got yet another cube draft. So, let's take a look at the pack. Alright. This is actually kind of a tough one. So black looks pretty good. It's got Obnix, List of Fallen, Greyborn Muse, also Nether Void, which is an interesting card that I haven't had a chance to play with yet. Let's see, there's Sword of Body and Mind, which is a solid card. There's a decent card from blue in the form of Moloku, the Clouded Mirror. And there's also some decent red cards, Sulfuric Vortex, Fireball. I'm actually kind of thinking I might want to try aggro again. Though I'm not 100% sure which direction to go at this point. Because I could take the Sulfuric Vortex, maybe wheel the Stormbind, or even another Void and go like black, red, or red, green aggro. Could go more control, take like Moloku, the Clouded Mirror, and pass the rest of this. Or could just take a solid card that goes in any archetype and get like Sword of Body and Mind. The sword's not, I don't think, as good as a first pick in pack 1 as it could be normally. I think I'm going to go ahead and take, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and try this Sulfuric Vortex and see if I can go aggro. I haven't had a chance to actually play that combination yet, so might be fun. That almost makes me wish I had chosen the Moloku and just gone blue, because Bribery is a sweet card. That said, though, there are some pretty good aggro cards in here. So let's see. I could move into blue. It's only pack 2. I only passed one other blue card, even though Moloku is pretty solid. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and grab this Bribery. Alright. So, got some decent control cards here. We can go black-blue, grab the Liliana Vess, or could just take a Sword of Temptation. I think I might want to just keep cutting off blue, so grab the Sower and pass the rest of these. Let's try this. Alright, so guess take the Mana Leak here and pass the Condescend and the Into the Roll. I wouldn't mind getting Into the Roll back, but everything else here, it's kind of generic. Alright, and so here we have a choice between like a control card, like in the form of Duress, or we can just go Callous Oppressor or Deep Analysis. Of the two, I'm not sure which one's better. I think probably the Callous Oppressor is better. So I'm going to grab that and maybe, hopefully, wheel the Deep Analysis, but probably not. If that doesn't come back, maybe Prophetic Bolt, I can go red-blue for a change. Oh, wow. So, definitely Badalkin Shackles is the pick here. And hopefully wheel maybe Electrolyze, Force Spike. One of those two would be nice. But the Shackles is amazing. And the fact that it's, I don't know, past pack 6, hopefully means that I'm one of the few people drafting heavy blue. So that'd be a nice change. Because that is definitely an incredibly high pick for any person playing blue. And this is actually quite nice. Get Moloku back, which is nice because I think that was the pick from pack 1 that I was kind of regretting. So I'm definitely glad to take Moloku here. It is too bad that I'm not going to see this Electrode again. So I am going to go, I mean, I don't have to go blue-red, but that'd be an interesting color combination, I think, to go into. So unfortunately, it's between these two. I can't get both back. But we'll go ahead and take the Moloku. And, I mean, Electrode's good, but it's not so good that I really need to take it over this awesome control card. And this pack has got some potential, because even though I don't have any artifacts yet, having a Tinker actually would be quite awesome. Only big artifacts I've seen so far have been like the Mirror Battlesphere. I guess I don't see a reason not to take Tinker. Like, Thirst for Knowledge is a decent draw spell, but it's not so good. And they both require artifacts anyway. I think I'd rather just have a Tinker. It seems a lot stronger. And definitely more game-winning. This is interesting. Okay, so we've got pretty much 3 choices to be made here. Thieving Magpie is just honestly not a card I really like, but I haven't had a chance, I guess, to play it enough, perhaps. But all these cards are good. I would like to have, personally, I would love to have all 3 of these. I think Capsize might just make the difference more often than these other 2, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think card draw is something that I shouldn't have too much problems finding in blue. Rather have a bounce effect, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. And speaking of bounce and card draw, in my opinion, I would rather have Into the World and Condescend, which is, in my opinion, kind of a weak counterspell. And we get card draw anyway in the form of Deep Analysis. It's either that or Prophetic Bolt. I'm not 100% sure I want to go into blue and red. I wonder whether it's just safer to grab the draw spell here. Or to take the blue-red. I'm going to go ahead and take... Actually, I'm taking the blue-red. Because like I mentioned before, I think I'll be able to find card draw in the next couple of packs. Whereas Prophetic Bolt's not something I'm going to see again. And I think one place where blue's generally been a bit weak is the fact that they don't have any kind of direct removal, so pairing this color up with red seems like it might be a good plan. Alright, and we have a choice of a Force Spike or a Mystical Tutor. That one's interesting. An instant, interrupt, mana source, or sorcery card. So, we do have quite a few cards that would work well with. I think that's probably stronger than Force Spike, to be honest. So I'm going to grab the Tutor. And here, Inkwell Leviathan's not really playable in this deck. Nether Void's not really playable, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Nether Void just in case someone wants to play it, and pass the rest of these. And Thirst for Knowledge, that's okay. So we've got Tinker, we've got Thirst for Knowledge, so it probably means the next few picks we're going to have to be looking for some potential artifacts to pick up. So, speaking of artifacts, we do have a few options here. See, cards I like Oona, I like the Manipulator, and I like the Isochron Scepter. That would work with, let's see, really not too much we have here besides Mana Leak would be a nice one to throw on there. I'm going to go ahead and just pass that, though, and take the Oona, because I think the Oona is probably more of a game winner. Maybe it'll come back. I doubt it, but it's possible. If not, maybe a Manipulator, maybe the Bone Horde, maybe even Felwar Stone, because we do need artifacts. So that's something to consider. Okay, so there are 2 cards, well, 2 or 3 cards I really would like to have out of this pack. First of all, Control Magic is amazing. So is Crystal Shard. I think, just seeing the way the blue's been going around the table, I think Crystal Shard's probably going to come back. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Control Magic, which I think is the stronger card out of this pack anyway, and hopefully get back the Crystal Shard. If not, Serendip Efreet would be fine. Boomerang's trash, really. I don't want it. So hopefully I don't have to have the choice of picking that up. Okay. So not too much going on in this pack besides Vinzer, Shaper, Savant, and that's definitely a good card, so that's probably going to be the pick here. So let me take a look at the rest of these. So white looks like it's got a few cards going for it. If this pack comes back, I wouldn't mind actually taking the Bottle Gnomes. Okay, nice. So we have really, I guess, 2 or 3 things here. Could go white-blue and take the Grand Arbiter. But this pack, regardless of what happens, I'm taking this capture of Jing Zhao. I think it's just a strong card. But if the Grand Arbiter comes back, I might consider moving into white. Vector Fiction or Dismiss also would be a nice pick out of this pack, so we'll have to see what comes of that. We don't have that many direct counterspells, so it might be nice just to take up this Forbid. It's very good late game. The other card I'd like out of this pack would be like Mold Drifter. I guess Ancestral Vision would be okay, but I prefer to get the Mold Drifter back, but I think the Forbid's just a better pick here. Alright, so there are a few cards in here I like. So there's Sundering Titan, which would be a nice Tinker target, that's for certain. But there's also some nice blue cards in here. Impulse, Seagate Oracle, and Sphinx the Lost Troops would be nice additions. A bit like leery of picking up a Tinker target when I don't really have that many artifacts that I wouldn't like to sacrifice. I think it's probably safer to take either the Impulse or the Seagate Oracle. Personally, I kind of like the Seagate better than the Impulse because it's a creature and it also filters. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Seagate, and hopefully Wheel, I guess one of these 3 would be fine. Surprisingly enough, the Isochron Scepter, Manipulator, and the Feltwater Stone all came back. I think more than likely the Isochron Scepter will be more useful, but I'm trying to look. We don't really have that many spells that it'll apply to, and I would hate to have it just sit there dead in my hand. I guess probably more effective than taking the Isochron Scepter would be the Icy Manipulator, but I think the Scepter just overall is so much stronger, and I guess the next couple packs we're gonna have to be, or the next pack or so, have to look out for more 2-costed spells. Take advantage of that. Alright, so the Crystal Shard came back, and that's the pick here. It's nice to be able to recur certain cards like your Vinzer, your Calcipressor or your Malokio. Just cards that you need to. You can either use it to save your creatures from dying to removal or to bounce a creature that has a certain effect that you want to be able to recur. And it's possible I'll get Serendip Efreet back, which wouldn't be bad out of this pack. Okay, so like I said, this was one of the packs that had a lot of dead cards in it for us, so the one that I would like to take out of here is the Bottle Gnomes. That could be used as a Tinker target, and later on, it's a good blocker, and also it just keeps you alive, so that's not a bad pick. Okay, so got the choice of moving into white with the Grand Arbiter, or I could just grab another counterspell with Dismiss. I think probably at this point, it's just better to take the Dismiss over the Grand Arbiter. Alright, really not much in this pack at all, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Repeal. I really doubt the Repeal will be that useful, but actually I haven't really used Repeal that much, or have it been played against me that often, so I'm not really even sure where to go with that, so I'm going to grab it and see whether or not it comes in handy. So, we've got a Sundering Titan, which could be a Tinker target, and we've also got Sphinx of Lost Truth, which is a pretty expensive draw spell. I like the Sphinx, but I think having a Sundering Titan is just a better game plan, just to have that there for the Tinker. So I'm going to grab that. I think we'll probably be able to get enough artifacts to make it worthwhile. So here, speaking of artifacts, this is our first pack again. We have a choice between an Icy Manipulator and a Felwar Stone. I think the Manipulator is probably more useful, but I like the Felwar Stone because it comes down before the Tinker, and also if we don't have the Tinker, it's just a bit of acceleration. So I think here it's a good enough reason to justify taking the Felwar Stone over the Manipulator, even though I think overall the Manipulator is just a better card. But I think that will work better in our deck, and Serendip Efri came back. That's pretty nice. So it's definitely clear from this draft that blue is just incredibly, incredibly wide open. I'm probably the only, maybe one or two people drafting it. I'm definitely getting the lion's share of all the blue cards here. And we get the final pick, a Dimir Signet. Not bad. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. I would like to take Treachery here, but I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that, judging based on the way these packs have been going, that blue's pretty open, so it might come back. Because if I don't pick Treachery, I have the option of taking a Sword of Fire and Ice. And let's take a look at creatures, my creature count. We've got Sower, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, we have a few creatures that can carry it. I already have Mind Control Magic and Fidalcan Shackle, so if someone does take it, I'm not looking at a huge loss. Yeah, I think it's worth taking the Sword of Fire and Ice here. And hopefully getting back Treachery, but that's up in the air. And so we've got a Jace Bellerin, which is quite awesome. That's probably the pick. Otherwise, we have maybe a Karn or a Crystal Ball, which would be interesting. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Jace Bellerin. If we get back Tezzeret, which might actually happen, I think it might be interesting to play Tezzeret and see whether that works or not. So I think if we get back Tez, I'm going to take him. But for now, I think Jace Bellerin's better. And so we can either take a Pithing Needle, possibly a Triskelion. And all in all, actually, a Triskelion wouldn't be too bad in this deck. It is a decent artifact, so it wouldn't be a complete loss. So, I mean, I guess the reasons I like the Triskelion in this deck is that we don't have that much removal. Triskelion would be a form of removal, and plus, once we remove all the counters from it, it could be used later on as a target for Tinker if we drew that late game. The only other card I would consider taking out of this pack would be Pithing Needle. And while it is quite a good card, I feel like maybe Triskelion might not come back as quickly, or probably won't come back. So I'm going to go ahead and try out the Triskelion and see whether that's a decent card or not. Alright, so we've got Palancron. And really that's the only blue card in the pack. so there's no reason not to take it. Plus, it's also a very good blue card. And so, yeah, Palinchron it is. Alright, this is a similar situation to the last pick, in that we've only got really one viable blue card to grab, which is Remand, however you want to pronounce it. See, there's also Psychotog, Void Slime possibilities, but not really. Neither of those are that exciting. So it looks like Remand's the pick. And I don't really like Remand, but I understand the theory behind it. It's sort of like a time walk. If your opponent taps out and then you remand their ability, and you sort of have put yourself a turn ahead or put them a turn behind, however you want to look at it. Plus you draw cards, or it replaces itself. And actually, Remand would be quite a good card to attach to an Isochron Scepter. You can pretty much stop whatever your opponent does, plus you draw a card whenever it goes off. So definitely a good card. Probably going to be main deck if I play the Isochron Scepter for sure. That'll be one of the cards that I throw down with. I think I do, speaking of counterspells, do need a few more of those, so I like Complicate here. And I would be happy to wheel either the Morphling or the Aether Adept. Either one would be perfectly fine. I actually haven't played with Morphling before, so I wouldn't mind actually getting that card and maybe giving it a try. Alright, so there's not really too much here. So I think I'm probably going to take a Forked Ball if I am going to play red in the deck, which is a possibility since I have, the Prophetic Bolt, which is a pretty good card. No reason not to go ahead and maybe splash for a Forked Bolt as well. Okay, so we did get Tezzeret the Sacred back, and the reason I kind of like this guy is that it does work well with some of our artifacts. For instance, we could untap the Vedalken Shackles if we needed to using the Tezzeret. We could use it to tutor up the Shackles, the Sword of Fire and Ice, any of our artifacts. And plus, we do have a few artifacts in here. We could possibly alt them and make them into 5/5s. So I think overall, Tezzeret might actually work well in this deck. And if we get back a Current or a Crystal Ball, that would be good as well. Alright, so we have the choice pretty much between Twin Cast or an Urgolem's Eye. I'm not sure how I feel about Twin Cast. I mean, it is. I think the reason why it's probably going to be the pick is that it does work with Isochron Scepter if we actually wanted to bring it in. But here you're not actually countering a spell, you're just copying it, which might be good depending on what kind of deck we're playing against. I think it's probably more valuable than an Urgolem's Eye, because I think Urgolem's Eye is just too slow and too expensive for what it actually does. So, Twin Cast is the pick here. And none of these cards are really playable in the deck, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Ankh of Mishra because I think that's probably a good card against us, and I don't really want to give anybody a leg up. Okay, and I guess the same thing kind of applies here. I'm going to take the Desolation Angel just to keep someone else from playing it. The fact that it hasn't already been picked up maybe suggestive that no one's going to play it anyway, but I'd rather go ahead and take it and get the rest of these out of here. Alright, so we did get back the Morphling, and we also got back the Aether Adept. I like the Morphling, and I also like the Aether Adept. I'm not sure which one will be more useful. We do have a few bounce type spells already, and so probably a bit low on creatures if we're actually going to go that route. So I think Morphling's probably. I mean, they're both creatures, I guess. I think Aether Adept's probably actually the better card for this deck. I mean, it's nice on the lower curve, just not as mana intensive, and I don't think Morphling's going to be the one that wins us the game anyway, so Aether Adept just seems like a better pick. Alright, and none of these are playable, but I'm going to go ahead and take the... Well, they're all playable, but none of them in our deck. I'm going to go ahead and take the Dafi Hearts to keep us from being killed by shadow creatures. And the Simic Sky Swallower, sure. And the Elite Vanguard. Alright, so there's a deck. It looks like we're going to end up being pretty much mono blue, maybe splashing a couple of red cards, but we'll see what that looks like in a bit, so I'll see you in deck building. Okay, it's deck building time. So let's start bringing things in. So Pelicron, Tezzeret, Capture, Bribery, Maloku, Vinzer, Sower of Temptation, Dismiss, Control Magic, Jace, Forbid, Capsize, Chaos Compressor, Aether Adept, the Efreet, Complicate, Mana Leak, Remand, Into the Royal, Mystical Tutor, and let's see, Swords in, Crystal Shards is in, Battle Gnomes is in. So it looks like here we can just go straight up mono blue. The Oona needs to come in, so we need to figure out what we need to cut. Possibly the Bottle Gnomes. And let's see what else there's in here. I do want to play Seagate. So possibly pull out... let's see. I guess if we're only going to play 2 artifacts, might as well pull out the Tezzeret. Oh, we gotta play the Vidalcan Shackles though. Jeez, that's gonna be a tough deck building one. Tough deck build. See, Crystal Shard maybe can come out. It's not really that much I want to be bouncing to my hand anyway. Well, there are a few things. I'm not going to play Tinker or Sundering Titan. Scepter would be nice to be able to play. We only have, what, 4 things really for it to activate on. And don't want to bring in Twin Cast just for that. Triskelion still looks pretty nice. I'm not sure what to bring out for it. I guess overall this looks pretty good. It's a pretty strong blue. And I guess not splashing for anything makes it easier to play all this stuff. Okay, I guess this looks okay. I wonder though whether we actually need the Mystical Tutor. I think so. Yeah, I guess that looks okay. We have a few things we could sideboard in if we needed to. Tinker, Sundering Titan, Triskelion, Crystal Shard. I guess this looks okay. The curve looks nice as well. Alright, so looks like I'm going to play my very first mono blue control type deck. So let's bring in some Scars of Mirrodin lands, not Kaleidoscope. Oh, looks like it's just randomly grabbing things out of there. Okay, Scars of Mirrodin. I guess it doesn't really matter too much about my option. I mean, cause I don't. I guess it's pretty easy to put lands in here at least. We're just gonna go straight islands, and I don't really see me splashing red at this point. Not for the 3 kind of, well, really 2 kind of bad red cards. Well, not bad red cards, but mediocre red cards. So yeah, that looks pretty good. And Centering Titan Tinker can come in at some point if we play, I guess, a really multicolored deck. So yeah, I guess I like this. So that's the deck, and I will see you in match, round 1. And we're in round 1, and the first